Hello and welcome to Hardcast, where we will bleep about Archer Bleep, Armstrong Bleep free. I'm Humphrey Erm, and with me as always is Christian Claus.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Again, if you haven't read the volume, then obviously that little intro probably a little bit confusing. So, but it's in reference to, I think, one of the more amusing villains in the Valiant universe so far. So, General Redacted.
Yes.
All right. Well, I thought I'd just ask first. Any general feelings about the volume? Since it's it's not like your favorite, but it's also connected to your favorite character.
Humphrey, I knew this was going to come up when I started reading it. This is my absolute favorite volume of all of the volumes we've read so far.
The entire thing?
The entire thing.
Oh, okay. Because I wrote about the issue 0, which I had some specific questions about, but the whole thing.
The whole thing from page 1 to page 136. I loved every single page.
Oh, wow. Well,
yes. I mean, for a comic that I didn't like at the beginning, with Archer and Armstrong, I was just a little bit like, I don't know, these characters are a little bit weird. I don't really like Armstrong. I don't kind of like Archer. He's okay, but but this volume knocked it out of the park.
Wow. And,
yes.
And did it then retroactively make the previous volumes better in hindsight, or?
I'd have to reread the other volumes, but because the thing is, the especially with Armstrong, just there's so much connection to history, which is something that I so love. That it was always like on the precipice of becoming a comic that I do enjoy, because there's so many references to things that I really love. But this one just, oh my god, I don't know what it was, but just it was so perfect, the whole thing. I mean, it started off with when I saw that issue 0, I thought to myself like, this is going to be the greatest thing that I'm going to read, and then it's going to go back to the typical mundane stuff in the next chapters that I was reading. But it just kept on getting better and better, and I just loved the whole idea of the tie-in to the issue 0. Like, because again, I was thinking like, okay, well, this is interesting, and then when they found that portal again, I was like, right, okay, so there's a reason why they put that in here. And I mean, obviously there has to be a reason for them to put it in there. But yeah, oh man, I was so pleasantly surprised with this. And then when Gilad came up, I was like, yes, thank you. And oh man, great volume. I'm actually thinking maybe I should buy this as a paperback too.
Ooh. Well, Christmas is around the corner.
Yes, Christmas is.
Christmas time is once a year. Nah, I already lost there. All right, wow, that was surprising, because again, I was pretty sure you'd at least enjoy parts of the issue 0. Like, first of all, because are you familiar with Gilgamesh? Like, have you ever actually read it, or?
I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with it, yeah.
So yeah, again, for me, it's mostly tangential. Like, he appears a lot of times in Final Fantasy games as a boss or a summon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, again, they take a lot of... They like to have fun.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff that they do like to take. They like to take a lot of stuff from mythology and religion and stuff like that and put into their games. I've never played that game, but yeah.
Except for the little part I forced you of Final Fantasy 9.
Oh Jesus, that was the most boring thing ever.
Okay, you're in a good mood. I'm not gonna change that now. So, but because again, I had to kind of brush up a little bit. I kind of read the quick wiki summary.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even do that. So, can you give a quick summary for the listeners and for me?
Yeah, sure. I mean, let's see. I mean,
it's basically the story that they have here, right? I mean, it's what they said.
Well, yeah, but the whole idea there is that it's as Armstrong says, it was free of them. Instead of being just one Gilgamesh.
and then his trusted companion. But still, it's just like I think this is great. The idea that then, but you forgot about the poet or the one who wanted to become a poet, and then the guy who wrote it, the author, and it's just like, yes, it's just perfect. I don't know, it just worked out so well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's from what I've understood about it. It's also, I mean, as they said, it's considered what's called earliest great work of literature in terms of actually being, a story.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of, well, again, I'm not sure because I've only seen like this kind of broad strokes version of it. So it's just like what's called what do we say, like the game plan version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of have it here on Wikipedia here. The first half of the story discusses Gilgamesh, king of Uruk and Enkidu. King of Uruk and Enkidu, a wild man created by the gods to stop Gilgamesh from oppressing the people of Uruk. So after an initial fight, Gilgamesh and Enkidu become close friends. I mean, that right there, that's, predates all of those superhero fights. I mean, heck, that...
Oh, right. Actually, you know what? I do remember the whole thing about Gilgamesh. I think I may have read, or I may have watched the Thug Notes on Gilgamesh.
So, they made a Thug Notes of that.
I might be confusing it with something else. Was it Gilgamesh? I think it was. Because I can just hear that, my boy Gilgamesh. Like I can hear that. I think I watched it. I think it was Thug Notes that did that.
Oh, I'll have to check it out later. So maybe I'll finally get an understanding for it.
Right. If you can understand him.
Oh. So, but yeah, they and I always kind of like stories like this myself, where they take like either a well-known true story or fictional one. Yeah. And then kind of give it, this is how it really happened.
Right.
That's always kind of fun because if there's like little, it's the reason why I love the Phantom comics, like the historical ones.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, how did this thing happen? Well, this guy was actually behind it. So
that's what I mean. That's why I love historical fiction. Like I've been saying on this podcast for a couple of times, it's just that whole idea. Like here's what you know, and here's how it really happened, and then you just like have fun with that premise.
But it's not. But in your eyes, then it's not then ruined or besmirched by the addition of these science fiction kind of stuff.
No, I mean, because that's the fun of it, I mean, there's so many things that in history, they always say, because they always say that whole thing like technology. Yeah, like technology seems like magic to lesser minds, kind of thing.
Mm.
And I like that. This whole idea of back in the day, and I'm talking about like 25 AD. They thought stuff was magic when it happened. Like if the sun coming up was obviously magic, or all that kind of stuff. And I like that. I like that idea. But then to have it kind of have someone like an author like in this comic to say like, no, it was actually this piece of technology from far into the future or whatever that is helping these people stay alive and all that kind of stuff. That's interesting then. And to connect all this stuff together, that's even better. So I mean, I don't feel this ruined or besmirched or anything like that. It's just fun. I mean, because that's the thing. You have to see this as fun, not like, oh, they're ruining history by writing over it in crayon or something like that. No, it's just fun. And I don't think anyone's going to read this and be like, and then go to school the next day, and then when they're discussing Gilgamesh or something like that, say, no. It was these three guys who did this. No, come on. No one's going to believe that.
So yeah, no, I get that. No, for me it was more about like a taste thing, because it's like
a bad taste.
No, in terms of not bad taste, but in terms of if it fits in, if one likes historical fiction.
Well, I mean, if you like historical fiction, you like history being played with. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but it could again, like I said, I liked it. It's not that, but I was thinking that introducing too many like other elements in there. Like I was thinking about this thread on CO that I was following when the first issue of Britannia came out. So that new Valiant series.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing some comment going on like in green text. So excited about what's called historical comic about a Roman detective. So a bunch of supernatural shit. So, and again, I can understand that. Like, as much fun as supernatural and, the spectacular stuff is, it does feel like it might overshadow then what could have already been interesting.
Yeah, but the thing is, with this story here, magic has already, and supernatural stuff has already been established.
That's true. It's not just a story that came out now from nowhere.
Yeah, but with Britannia, if someone had said that it's a Roman detective, I would think also like, oh, that's so cool. You could have like, this universe of being in Rome, in ancient Rome, and being a detective in that time, trying to figure out actual murders or whatever, that would be fun. But then to add this whole supernatural thing, then, because it's like the same thing with Batman. You never really think that he's actually a detective. That's the thing. He's not a detective anymore. He's a superhero. And that's the same thing. Like, if you add too many supernatural elements, you can call yourself whatever you want, but you're actually just a supernatural investigator. So it's not actually a detective in Roman times, because that's what he is, but the story is not about his detection skills or deduction skills or whatever in Roman times. It's about this whole supernatural thing. And that's what I was also saying, that also turned me off from that comic.
So, all right.
It's just, again, not that I was coming in there expecting like something, oh, great, let's do this, but because I wanted it to be set in historical times, and then they go into this whole supernatural element where I think, oh, okay, well, this isn't what I was expecting, this isn't what I kind of like, so I just won't read it.
All right.
I was expecting something else.
Well, that's the thing. I remembered you having some kind of like thoughts like that, so that's why I was curious.
But again, in this world that I'm in, the supernatural element is already established. So it's not like a surprise. I'm already in this world of things being supernatural. And again, with this whole world, I know that the supernaturalness is very small. You know what I mean? Is that you have this one device, and you have some questions and some supernatural abilities that people have, like superhuman abilities that some people have. But the story, the whole thing about it is putting these two characters into weird and cool situations. In all of time, you can even do that. And that's what I'm kind of starting to love about this, especially now when they're in the Faraway. That's just hilarious. All these things that accidentally fell into this world and then survived forever, that is amazing. There's so many things that you can do. Oh. And as they showed here, it's just like, yes, with every, especially in the last issue, I think every page turn I did, I was just going like, yes, 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 exactly, yes. And then, of course, that one character came up, which we're going to talk about later, I bet. And she was amazing. And I was just like, when I page turned and saw her, I was like, this is it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right. No, but that makes sense then. Again, not in terms of me trying to have like gotcha. I found a contradiction in your tastes.
Yeah.
So, I agree then. We previous two volumes, we've definitely had supernatural and sci-fi elements. And this issue 0 has, of course, we got to see Ivar in the last volume as well. So, he's not like a new character, but still, we have mainly Armstrong as the one we know. And, you're right. Just a story with them. But in that case, I'm gonna share you some of these like original Archer and Armstrong comics with you. Because they have some of these comics there taking place in the old times.
Okay.
Since again, they're Armstrong and Ivar are immortal, but they kind of work around the idea of Archer, because he can't really hang out in the past.
Yeah.
So instead, they just have a what's called a suspiciously similar ancestor who takes on the role.
God.
So it's again, it's for all intents and purposes Archer.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting because if I remember correctly, I think they have two stories before it got canceled that was like that. And one's sort of basically it's the Three Musketeers, but it was actually the Three Anipada brothers, and Archer was the one who wasn't.
D'Artagnan?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing! I want to read that.
Yeah, and then I think the other one, which I'm not sure if I actually finished reading it, but I think it was some kind of like Camelot thing, or if it was a Crusades thing. I can't remember.
Seriously, this is making all of these kind of things that you're telling me right now making me think that I really should write that Gilad Kalevala story.
Well, yeah.
I've been thinking about it for a while, but it would work so well. I mean, especially if I read a little bit more about specifically Gilad kind of comics. I guess I can cheat by reading the previous Valiant universe. Because that doesn't count to our current universe, I guess.
So yeah, no, it's not.
And then I can read a little bit more and I kind of see what the characters are like, how their voices are.
Well, they're not quite the same. They have been updated.
I know, but then maybe I can write that over the Christmas holidays. I have so many things to write. I have like 5 projects that I need to write, but oh man, Christmas is going to be busy.
Well, again, it's again not to say that Valiant takes whatever they're sent. But I think because they're smaller, I don't think they're as, I don't think it's as much of a never.
Yeah, well,
I think they'd at least entertain the idea if you actually have to be completed.
Let me first write it. I mean, come on, before we start talking about them reading it and whatever, let me just write it first.
No, Chris, let's get the difficult stuff out of the way first.
Okay.
I mean, writing is just a monkey can type.
Right, said an animator who doesn't write. Let's continue.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's good to know that you like it. So yeah, no, it's kind of threw me off the course here because I kind of had not really questions in response to you saying you didn't like it, but it's more like I was kind of prepared for it. So I'm a little bit, right, okay, well, let's see.
Which I think is so great that we don't talk about these before the podcast starts. Because it's an actual reaction from you to be like, oh wow, I didn't think you would like it, and. Because I knew that while I was reading, I was like, oh man, Humper's going to be so thrown off guard that I like this comic.
Yeah, no, of course. No, it's great. But then in that sense, since, we kind of like the overall all of it, then I think I'll go into this point I had here. There's a lot of continuity and setup in this volume compared to previous Archer and Armstrong volumes and other Valiant titles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Project Rising Spirit, while not, very prominent, are, what's called, are referenced several times. And Bloodshot Volume 2 is referenced as well. When the Archer's on the computer in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's mentioning that, there's no information about me here. It's over at this other thing called the nursery.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I didn't pick up on that. I didn't get that connection.
Again, I didn't get that when I read it first time either. But after rereading and stuff, and then being more aware of all the events.
Yeah.
But then that brings up some interesting points there. So wait, Archer. What does Archer have to do with the nursery?
Yeah.
So that's kind of again nice if you're a reader reading both books or whatever. You're kind of like, wait a minute. So again, it sows a seed. It shows there's a plan for the future. So and that's always interesting to see, especially if it pays off. But also, and of course, the big one, of course, being what's called Ivar.
Mm-hmm.
How did you react to? Because it really is kind of it basically be me just starting to you're saying that you're reading Valiant, and I'm going oh right, so you've read about that already, right? You're gonna be like, what?
Yeah, that was a little bit confusing. I mean, you know my opinions on time travel and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really want to get into that because that could be a podcast on its own. That could be an entire series on its own.
Yes, wait till we get to his comic.
Oh, Jesus. Because the thing is, it's really hard to make time travel make sense without having parallel universes in which a character can move between universes but cannot go back to their own if they have changed something. You know what I mean? Like I always feel like if you have, okay, okay, I'm not gonna continue. Because that's the problem with this whole thing, is that now we have a character who knows the future. So basically, and again, my thought is, I thought when he came out of the little egg thing bubble, he would know nothing. Like, the point where that machine, whatever, what was it called? I can't remember what the machine was called.
Let's see, I got it open here. Well, the boon is the previous one, like it's the large one. I'm not sure if that is the actual. Is that the boon as well, the bubble?
Well, no, because what I thought was what happened. I don't know what the bubble is, but I mean,
I see it's a prison.
Yeah, but when the boon exploded in the past, which gave Armstrong his immortality.
Yeah.
I don't know what it did to Gilad, if it brought him back to life and gave him immortality.
No.
All right, well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But now it seems that I thought when I saw Ivar coming out of the bubble, it imprisoned him. That's what I thought. So I thought that since back in the day when he got imprisoned, he's been in that bubble. And then when he comes out, he starts spouting all about this. Because then he says that thing, I've been trapped in the time stream for literally forever. I was like, oh, okay, so he's been trapped in there since back then. And then he says, love of your life, faith. And I'm like, what? It's like, have you destroyed Bloodshot? It's like, what? And so then I was like, oh, God, this is going to be one of those things that he's had this adventure where he's time traveled between all the timelines and he's come back and he's in some different timeline now, and then everything's going to get complicated and I'm going to start drawing maps on my wall so I can understand where everyone is at what point, and I hate it.
Nah, I get that, but for me, because I've read the whole the full series that he gets later, and to me, reading this part now, so it's almost it kind of gets like, oh right, that makes more sense now. And that series didn't come out until years later. So this is set up for a comic that's not going to be for another couple of years or so, in real time.
Oh, Jesus.
But again, once you do read it, though, because again, when I was reading this, it was like,
Right, yeah.
So again, I me with time travel, I'm fine with it as long as it's not those stable time loop kind of things.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that bugs me, because, if I was the reason for wanting to travel back in time or allowing that, then yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a little interesting here because I mentioned the whole thing, the Book of Death, to you before.
Yeah.
So the whole idea that they basically, for the main portions of the Valiant universe, they basically made those single issue comics that basically tell us how they end.
Mm-hmm.
Basically tell us how Exo Manowar dies, how Bloodshot dies, how everyone in Harbinger dies.
They also mentioned the fourth Harbinger Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got some stuff planned, don't they?
Oh yeah. Again, hopefully it'll go better this time than in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, though again, a few things are. I mean, it's not so much of a spoiler or so, but one of these things have happened.
Yeah.
So, do you mind? It's not a big thing.
Yeah, no, go for it. I mean, spoiler also to the listeners. I mean, what are you spoiling? In case listeners want to listen away. For
Okay. Well, it's kind of relatively recent. It's going on in the what's called the new what's called the Faith book.
Okay.
So
Faith 2.0.
No. So but what's called? That's what he's asking there. They got my love of my life. They got Faith, and who do we know whose name is Faith?
Oh, dude, you're killing me. I don't know.
Harbinger.
Is it? Yeah, the Harbinger. Right. I was thinking of that. Okay.
And that's the thing, is they're dating.
Your your expression just now was such disappointment. Like you're just like Harbinger. Like how dare you not know that?
Yeah.
Come on, Chris. It's our Harbinger. No, okay.
So, but yeah, they're dating now. So in the current comics.
Ah, okay. Speaking of his the love of his life, God damn, Armstrong is hot.
So yeah, actually, I that's a point as well here. Not that he's hot. but it's just a few pages afterwards from.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at it now.
Though it's kind of, I don't know, it feels like it's wrongly drawn in that like majestic pose.
Yeah.
Like his gut's gone.
Yeah, which again is something that I just feel is so annoying because I always thought that he was like a fat alcoholic that was just strong. But looking at this, I'm like, God damn, son.
Well, the way I see it, because of the whole like immortality thing, I'm seeing it that he has, because like in issue 0, how he's like, just built.
Yeah.
The way I see it is that he's got all of that muscle, because he can't die, I think he's kind of like in a stasis of sorts.
Yeah.
Like those muscles are never going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But I think fat can build on top. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it, that, he just got like, he's strong fat, I've heard people call it.
Yeah.
Referring to like athletes who,
was it fat people?
No, but like it's how they refer to some athletes.
Well, like with not bodybuilders, but like weightlifters and so on.
Exactly, because there's a difference between a bodybuilder and an actual athlete in that sense, like shot put and. Because it's like because they're not. I mean they're fat in the sense of they're round, but they're not like unhealthy in that sense. Just like muscles.
Yeah, well, again, that can be debated, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. It's not like they're not getting this strength by just sitting. They're working out, which is mostly what people try to do to get in shape.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just that page, I'm looking at it now, and I was thinking of it when I was rereading it too. I'm not sure if it's because looking at the previous page, we just see him a little bit there from the back, and he does seem to have like his more like rotund form there. Yeah. So it seems like it's more of a in the moment he looks a lot hotter than he is. Like it's her.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. It's like her perception of him.
Exactly.
But I'm also thinking that what if he's just like like Luke Skywalker, just wearing big clothes that don't fit him.
You mean Clark Kent?
Then, yeah. What did I say?
Luke Skywalker.
Why did I say Luke Skywalker?
I don't know, but it's recorded now, Chris. That's wasn't even.
I meant Clark Kent. Obviously, I mean, why would I say? I mean, I guess if I have Star Wars on my mind today, because I was thinking about it a little, because that's one of the projects that I want to write is a space opera. But what?
All right, well, we'll forget your lapse in judgment.
Yeah, so Clark Kent. So maybe it's just one of those things. But then again, they did show this other thing where I don't know if this is just something that they're doing in this comic or something, but they also had that panel that really confused me of where Armstrong was looking at Archer and he was old.
Right.
I didn't quite get that. Like, was that also just one of those things where it's like from his point of view? Because then, I mean,
I think so. Maybe, I think he says it himself too.
Yeah, like you look like this to me or something like that. You look.
When I look at you, I can't help but see what. What do you see?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it kind of gets me the impression that he kind of looks a bit like what's called the General.
Yeah, true. Because he also doesn't have the eye.
Exactly. So I think that's the idea that the General there is like what Archer could become. In terms of this, like what's called getting stuck in like a certain way of thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's probably the idea there, but.
So you think it's like a metaphor or something? I don't know.
So whatever you can't explain, that's a metaphor.
Or maybe it's the idea that, that Archer is going to get old at some point.
So, in terms of him not being able to, like, he always outlives his friends.
Yeah, because he talks about, he sees the inevitable.
Oh, true. That makes more sense with what he was saying before there, then.
Yeah, that the inevitable is that he's going to get old and die, and Armstrong is going to continue to live forever.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably it, because I've had a lot of friends, real good friends over the centuries, but...
Yeah.
So that's probably it. Yeah, and I see it in
And then it must be the same thing then with Mary... No. What's her name?
Mary Maria?
Mary Maria, that's the one. It's probably the same thing there. Then she also just had this, like, look. She looked at Armstrong in a certain way, when he was hot and flexing and throwing a crystal tree at someone, at an alien, or not aliens. What were they? What were they? The next generation of humans?
Yeah, Americans from the future.
Yeah, Americans from the future.
Again, it has a lot of fun, silly, quick things.
Again, which made me love this this volume more and more. Just like all this really fun stuff. Like I didn't even care anymore. It was just like, like the whole alien thing. Like, yes, they're actually humans, but from the future, and it's just like, I love it. Okay, good. Next thing, and then obviously, let's talk about that. Amelia Earhart. How awesome is that? It's just like, I mean, again, one of my favorite. I've tried to get you to listen to this more than I care to admit, but you always don't want to. The Thrilling Adventure Hour. They actually have a show called Amelia Earhart Fearless Flyer. Jesus, how they can say that on stage, I don't know. But for them, they she faked her own death so that she could continue fighting the Nazis in time. So she goes into different time periods and fights Nazis who are trying to get the Nazi movement started in different times, like in the future or in the past and all that stuff. And then she sometimes teams up with Colonel TikTok, and it's amazing. I love it. So yeah, Amelia Earhart. Such a great. When I saw her, I was just like, yes, this is perfect.
Well, again, she fits well within any kind of thing where there's portals around the world and a lot of people disappear. Well, it's the most famous case of all that.
Yes.
So yeah, no, it's what's called that's fun. And again, it's a nice little kind of solution to the problem there. I need a pilot. Oh, well, here's one.
Yep.
But again, it fits in within the theme and the rules of what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, had it just been, had we not had the Faraway and all these portals, then it would have been what?
Right, and also especially the whole thing where the general, General Redacted, is actually looking for lost pilots. Yeah, that helps with the whole thing to kind of put the whole the idea of lost pilots in our mind, and then we see Amelia Earhart, and we're like, yes, this is what we wanted, without knowing that we wanted it. Yeah, it's a great comic.
Yeah, no, and again, Redacted himself, yes. Again, it has. I'm not sure what it reminds me of. I think it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Discworld novels, a bit kind of like not just like the dialogue, but a lot of these sort of characters and scenarios.
Yeah.
I mean, you have this guy here who wants to uphold democracy, like gets pissed off when they vote for the wrong side. That kind of thing. Like, I'm here for democracy, and god damn it, they're voting for the wrong person.
Right.
Little things, nice little hypocrisies, contradictions. So little things like that.
Do well in today's world.
I think that's been everywhere. We just like to what's called romanticize the past.
Yeah.
So no, but it's what's it called there's a lot of little things like that, and they've always had those kinds of things in the previous volumes too. You have like the 1%. That's like a very we would say that's like a very Terry Pratchett thing to be, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of like, oh yeah, these really evil, like the actual 1% as an actual like evil cult.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that they're actually so into the whole thing about saving money and earning money that is like, again, like that line I love from the volume 2 with. So it seems like no, it's probably volume 1 because it was when the volume 1. That whole looks like that archer fellow killed most of our guards. Perfect. We can hire below minimum wage workers to take their places. So stuff like that is like, I don't know. Just for me, it's amusing. It's this kind of like frank talk about it. Like there's like serious things are going on, but people are still having these kind of like long-winded sentences.
Yeah.
I don't think I can't think of like a good word for it as a genre or style. So, but I really enjoyed this kind of writing. But yeah, no, it's again, I really enjoyed it too. So maybe a little bit rushed at the end.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Again, but
the whole battle at the end was very quick, and it's just like, all right, see you, bye.
So yeah, but again, a lot of build up to it. I mean, there's been like battles throughout, the volumes. It's not like it's like, yes, a big build up to something that was short. And we got enough foreplay.
Yep.
But then more like, okay, a big explosion, kind of like just like in a good Hollywood action film. Everyone coming down there. Yeah, everyone's happy. Man whore. And then, what's called Archer steals the map for the time portals, and okay, oh wow. And consider this from my end, because I didn't buy any Valiant comics for a long time after I bought the Humble Bundle. This is the last one of the Humble Bundles.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was a long time with just this. Again, not that I was against buying things from, Comixology, I have done since. But it's more just like, do I really, it's because you kind of like with price, and am I really that invested? And then you're also kind of like, but do I want to maybe like catch up so I can be part of it while it's happening?
Yeah.
Or should I just wait till they have another Humble Bundle with updated? It's little things like that. So, but for a long time, this was like the last thing I saw. So for me, it's almost like a trilogy. And then the next volumes, despite coming out in a reasonable time, for me, feel kind of like, I don't know, feels almost like the Star Wars prequels or something. Not in terms of the quality, but it's like, wow, I didn't think we were gonna get another one.
Right.
Which again, I get it. It was a weird scenario. It's one of those setups where like it's a super specific setup that doesn't really, I guess, apply to everyone.
So how long is it until we get to see the next Archer and Armstrong?
Let's see if I got that far on the list I made.
On our little you made?
Well, you made a list, but then I started filling them in.
Let's see here.
That we made. Okay.
Archer and Armstrong.
2, 3, 4.
It's going to be episode 21.
Yeah, so in 5 weeks.
Ugh, 5 weeks.
But
6 weeks.
Right before Archer and Armstrong, it's Eternal Warrior.
Oh, you're right. Oh my god, I'm so excited. But we have another Bloodshot.
So no, that's my favorite Bloodshot volume, so.
The hardcore.
Yeah.
Oh, and another Shadow Man. Interesting.
Well, again, you see some stuff.
Alright, well, we'll see. We'll see when we get there.
So, yeah. So, again, but I can tell then that you're, like, really, Archer and Armstrong rose very high now on the list.
Very high.
Yeah, because we haven't really been doing that lately since we kind of seem to be, remain at the, of your thoughts on the comics.
Yeah.
But they just kind of flew up in the ranking.
Oh, it went all the way up. I mean, we haven't read an Eternal Warrior yet, so this is probably hit number 1 already.
That's true. Yeah, Eternal
So
Warrior is
yeah,
still your
I
favorite
can't.
character.
Yeah, I can say that my favorite character, is still just the idea of the character. I mean, it says a lot about an idea of a character when I haven't even read his story, and he's already my favorite character.
Well, it's pretty
Like
rare.
yeah, well, I mean, I've only seen him in other people's stories. I've seen him. I've read about him or read him in the Valiant,
Yeah, I guess
the
that would be
crossover
one of
comic.
his stories too. I mean, he's major player.
Exactly, and then I've read him in Armstrong. Was it Volume 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I've ever seen of him, and I know that he's my favorite character. I mean, I really hope Volume 1 is good, because I'm going to be so disappointed if I don't like him after Volume 1.
Well, I'll tell you this about what's called like each volume is very different. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay. Well, then maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm
I
just
mean, it's
saying
only
that
the 4 weeks.
even if it is, whether it's good or bad, next time around it'll be something so different as like, you still kind of have to give it like its own like look, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I find it very interesting with the because I always think back to this quote from. Well, I mean, it's not like his quote, but Stan Lee during an interview had this was asked about where he gets his ideas and stuff.
Oh, I hate that question.
Yeah, but he pointed out then. I mean, he hates it too, obviously. But he mentioned that the whole thing ideas are cheap.
Exactly.
So because he brought up specifically the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So a rock monster, been done many times. From Judean folklore, mythology. The golem.
Yep. The color, yeah.
Trolls are often like rock creatures. I mean, there's nothing unique about that. Sitting there trying to come up with characters like, how about a rock monster? But it was the whole idea of, okay, well, what about if he was a person before who turns into a rock monster, and it's thanks to his best friend he became one.
Yeah. Well, it's the execution.
Exactly. It's what becomes of it. All this stuff and how it's built upon it, and then from the actual stories being made, that's creates the character.
Exactly.
But that's why I find it interesting then. Well, again, you've seen the character in action, so it's not like it's just I've told you about the Eternal Warrior.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how the concept of its own, is like, oh, I love it. I just want to see something with it. Doesn't have to be Gilad. I just want an immortal warrior.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just want someone who goes through time and fights and has action and fun and does stuff, and I don't know. I just love that idea. And I mean, again, there's multiple things like that, I guess. I mean, I can't really think of one right now.
Well, Wolverine.
Specifically. Well, yeah, but yeah. I mean, again, I've never been too into that character because he seems a little bit more too like brooding for me. But that's why one of the reasons why I love that first, in the Wolverine. I love that first shot there, or the intro where him and his brother are fighting through all the wars, going through all this stuff together, and I love that. And just that one, like, what is it, like 5 minutes, maybe less, is perfect. I wish we could have an entire movie of that, just like Logan going through all these things. I mean, that's why I really like Days of Future Past. It's just put it back into that timeline, which again is a really good way of using time travel by putting him in the body that he existed in before. Anyway, and all that kind of stuff. Perfect. It just works so well. But yeah, I mean, that's why I also like Captain America, because there's a lot of stories from the World War II era still. So yeah, I guess I'm a period junkie. Not that period.
Oh. Well, I'm just gonna play my pedantic card for this evening.
Okay.
And say it's Wolverine Origins, not the Wolverine that you were referring to.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yes.
The
Wolverine
I'm
Origins.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I
You're
am.
smiling
I
right
was.
now. You're smiling and you have a warm, fuzzy feeling right now because you're correcting me once again.
So yeah, no, but just kind of again, I'm that kind of guy, when you see a wrong quote or something, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of guy. It's called a douche.
Well, douches are helpful.
Yeah. They keep dirty places clean. No. Anyway, so, yeah. Mr. Pedantic. Yes, I meant Wolverine Origins, not the Wolverine. I'm sorry, I got confused between the 8 X-Men movies that there are.
Yeah, no, it's just me being an asshole.
Yeah, a nerd.
So, but let's see. Well, you'd be surprised how often they intersect. Let's see. Again, we as per usual, I have like some questions, but it often like crosses over between each other.
Yeah.
But as a big like kind of like point in this comic, what's called Armstrong sleeping with Mary Maria.
Oh.
Now that kind of scenario there, because it's one of those things I've always, even with characters you really shouldn't like, what's called like sympathize with. You always have like these kinds of again, not even like the nice guy TM characters. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Not like those characters, but when you have like a character in a story where it's like, well, they truly love this person and all this stuff, and then something like this happens where, as Armstrong says, you're not married to her, you're not not even boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
So there was nothing wrong. She's an adult, and so is he.
Yep.
So that kind of thing. They're like, but then it's also the whole thing. Yeah, but you knew he liked her, and again, not that that's supposed to be like. Again, not that that's like a legally binding contract.
Bros before hoes, man.
So exactly, that's kind of thing. They're like, but that kind of is kind of like Archer's little start of darkness here. I mean, at least temporarily or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but what do you feel like? Who was in the wrong?
Okay, so see, here's the thing. Like, Archer is he's going through a lot of things right now because of his whole, the whole thing with his parents, and he realizes he's been lied to, he's been kept in this cult and all that kind of stuff. So he's kind of experiencing a lot of feelings for the first time. And so is she. I mean, she's also in the same, like, she doesn't know what sexuality is. She's a very attractive woman, as we saw in the first issue, or the second issue of this volume, where she killed 2 guards in her undergarments. And the thing is, like, they're both just kind of figuring stuff out. And this is the kind of stuff, like, I know this stuff from my life as a teenager. I've been through this stuff. Like where I had a friend or whatever who I said like, hey, I really like her, and because I think you have this when you're a teenager, you have this thing in your mind where you like someone, so that means they belong to you.
Mm.
And you can get something like that really confused very easily. You have this thought that she must know that you love her so much that it just means that she belongs to you. And I hate that word. I hate the thought that people think that someone belongs to someone else. That's why I enjoy more saying stuff like, she's my partner, than saying something like she's my girlfriend, just kind of like, because it feels like it's kind of possessive in some sense. Like, because partner seems more like you're on equal ground, if you know what I mean. But like with this thing, it's just like, he's never told her how he really feels about her. Because, there might have been that thing in that sect that they were in. He might have had the pick of whatever girl he wanted to mate with, whatever. And so he thought, okay, I'm the alpha male of this group. I'm the best fighter of the sect or whatever, this family. I will get to choose my wife. And so he just imagined that it was always going to be this one girl. And now that he's outside of the sect and she has free will as well, she can do something, whatever she wants. She's not in the wrong at all. If she found this guy attractive, she wanted to have sex with him, that's cool. You can do that. And for all intents and purposes, she did not have the same feelings towards Archer as he did to her. Like she even says in that panel there, it's like, I do love you, but you're my brother. She saw it more as a familiar relationship than, something that could be a sexual relationship. And so in some sense, the person who's in the wrong here is no one really.
Well, because it's life.
Yes, it's life. And Archer can't, Archer has certain feelings, obviously. And he can't, just say like, okay, well, my feelings are wrong, so I should just not feel them anymore. But yeah, so it's just, it's a shitty situation. And it's a situation that I've been in and a lot of people have been in. I mean, I know you haven't because you've never had a problem in your life. I know I'm saying that. I know you've had problems in your life too, but, no, but the kind of thing that, especially in this scenario. But the kind of thing is just like you have these experiences and these let you grow. And the problem right here is that this is an adult who's been sheltered for a long time, having the first time with these feelings, and he has powers and he doesn't know how to control these feelings yet. I think if this was an adult who has gone through these things as a teenager when he didn't have that much power over himself and other people, this situation might have been completely different. He might have taken everyone along into the real world again and then left them there instead of leaving them in this area that they can never escape from. Because I think that was a dick move.
Oh, yeah.
That was a huge dick move. I mean, no matter how, like, shitty someone is, how much, like, I could walk in on, like I don't know, I could walk in on Armstrong having sex with my girlfriend or with my partner, I would say, and I'd still bring him back to the real world. I'd kick his ass, but I'd bring him back to the real world. You know what I mean? Is that like, because that's like an adult thing to do. You kind of say, okay, I hate you right now, but I don't want you to, die in a weird world where there's dinosaurs and, some sort of mineral lake or something like that.
Well, yeah, especially considering he stranded Ivar as well, who had nothing to do with it.
Exactly. Like Ivar's just a cool guy. And he wasn't even one of the guys who said crap at the end. It was the two who were at fault in apostrophes. So yeah.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, he says nothing. He just talks to Armstrong for a little bit. And he says nothing until the maps are robbed.
Exactly.
Again, it's for me, and as we've had these discussions of characters, being likable and such, but in this case, it feels natural within the character. Yeah. Especially also after his talk with the whole, the Archer cult. We didn't discuss that either.
Yeah.
So, but, that the whole thing there about, I'll never become like this because, this is, you're such apathetic defeatists.
Mm-hmm.
And then this kind of scenario happening, and then it's like, maybe. So, again, coming into this kind of time travel thing, so I guess this is what.
Yeah.
But again, it feels like here at least subtle enough. Okay, maybe it's like a very, very early on before he starts doing all this writing. And who knows, maybe it is good writing.
Yeah.
Well, so again, if it helps or not, is who knows.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, but it does feel natural. I mean, it's not like the later seasons of Arrow where the drama is kind of put in without any kind of reason. This kind of feels natural. Like this is how he would react to seeing his what he believed to be betrothed to be in a situation like that.
Well, again, I guess Archer's been watching too much Flash. It's okay to be in love with your adopted sister.
Yeah.
So again, it's one of those things where it's like obviously there's no legal issue, I'm supposing, or is there?
No, there isn't.
No, I was just wondering. Obviously there's not a biological issue, but I was actually wondering, legally.
No, I think I'm pretty sure that you can legally marry your sibling. Again, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. I don't know, but
Don't try this at home, people.
no, but I don't think that there's actually like a law against it, is it? I mean, it's
I think there is.
Well, because there's like I think there's just a biological thing. Because isn't there a thing where, yeah, I guess there must be. I mean, I know there's a biological thing that, if you don't want to have weird babies, I think your second cousin is like far enough removed that there's no like DNA kind of clash kind of thing.
If you need to rub that incest kink you have, that's a safe way to do it.
That's not rub that incest kink.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
just I'm realizing from the way we're talking. No, it's not about that stuff. It's more about the fact that here are two idiots who do not know what they're talking about. Yes, some very surface level thing. Yeah, I think it's something biological, so you don't get weird babies. It's again, from both of our ends.
Yeah,
Like,
both of our ends. We're just idiots talking. We're idiots talking about comics, and we don't have nothing to talk about, like about incest and yeah. No, but there's no law against marrying your stepsister. It's happened a couple of times.
so yeah, again, so yes, those things, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's but yeah, no, it's a fun. So it was a good volume, so I definitely agree with
it's a
that.
perfect volume, great volume.
So great art as well. Clayton Henry back
yeah.
for what's called for issue 0.
Yes, love the art.
So and then let's see here. Forget his name. Wait, I think Peter Perez. Let me double check. No, Perez. Pierre Perez. So.
Peter Perez.
Well, no,
Perez. Perez.
So, but again, great art from him as well.
Yep.
So, almost very similar to Clayton Henry.
Yeah, I didn't actually see a difference when I was reading him.
I just like checking the artists, even if it's not noticeable. So I just like checking.
Yeah, and the writer was Fred von Lent.
So yeah, well, he's been that from the beginning. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the whole thing. It's the writers all I mean, again, this is how it is for American superhero comic books. It's for the most part the writer being the director, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I know. I mean, they had a issue, like a couple of issues. They go for their, however many issues they're allowed to write until they get fired or until they want to take it another direction. But yeah.
And then that next writer wants to change everything the other writer did because they want to leave their imprint on it.
Oh god.
So see Green Lantern after. What was the writer? Jeff Johns. Yeah.
Jeff Johns. Yeah. Man, Jeff Johns did an amazing run on Aquaman. He really just changed that up.
Go Johns.
Yeah.
So.
Man.
Yeah, but that's a totally different discussion. Though that's kind of come up here though now with the new X-O Manowar series.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, they've had Robert Venditti on that for 50 issues or more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so so he's been the most consistent, so to speak, and working on the only book that went past 25 issues.
Wow.
Again, all the other ones have gotten soft reboots. Like renumbering, because Archer and Armstrong, okay, up to issue 25. So, okay, well now we have Archer and Armstrong Adventures.
Ah, okay.
Again, it's same continuity, all that stuff, but oftentimes switching our writers around and whatnot.
Yeah, okay. Cool. All right.
So, but yeah, leave it at that.
Yeah, I guess so. I think we've talked enough about this. We've hit about an hour, so there we go.
All right. Well, what's called? Great having you with me again, Chris.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure this time, especially.
So yeah, you didn't have to force yourself.
I didn't have to force myself at all.
Well, hopefully next time it will be just as fun.
I hope so too.
That was the 16th episode of Hardcast, detailing the Archer and Armstrong Volume 3. For more content from me and Chris, follow us on Twitter at Humphrey_Arum and at Christian D. Claus. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or listen to us directly on valianthardcast.podbean.com. Catch us later for our next episode discussing